What up, everybody? Conservatives and conspiracy theorists have united because of 9/11 and all the crap that happened. We're going to tell you all the dirty deeds. And the woman king is a crock of shit, and you're going to find out why. Yoop, yoop. Oh, guys, what a wonderful day it is to be an American. You know, it's one thing, Tina, when the left says something that's a little off, and so you're like, well, that's not quite true. It's another thing when they just create this perfect statue of absolute bullshit, and then you can go, there's a million things wrong with this. And if you haven't seen The Woman King yet, well,
the trailer.
There was never a such thing as a woman king, which we'll explain in a minute. But we're going to show you the trailer real quick, everybody. So just get your popcorn and get ready. We're going to be dunking on some libs.
I'm never take my power.
An evil is coming that threatens our kingdom, our freedom. But we have a weapon they are not prepared for.
Of course.
My king, the Europeans wish to conquer us. They will not stop until the whole of Africa is theirs. We must fight back for our people.
Aneska, you are asking me to take them to war. War.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Don't never take my power. Don't never take my power.
You are called to join the king's guard.
Don't never take my power.
No kingdom in all of Africa shares this privilege. Train hard, fight harder. We fear no one. And we fear no pain. I offer you a choice. Fight or we die.
I mean, there's so much to go into here, but I want to express a couple things. Do we have her speech that she gave? So the image that they're giving you right now,
It's about these
is that it is about what?
Amazonian women
empowered
who were
black women.
And they were just so feared and so tough and winning.
And they didn't want to have the Europeans destroy their way of life and risk their freedom. Guys, just hang with me for 5 minutes. You're gonna shit your pants. It's that good. Okay, just wait. Just wait. The inverse, they could not created something that has more of an opposite thing is true. So please stick around.
Yeah, we'll play Viola.
Yeah, here's her
Davis.
speech to everybody in case you don't like it. Don't worry, Rotten Tomatoes already gave it 100%. Remember when Rotten Tomatoes gave Dave Chappelle's like a 0 and then all the audience gave it 100% because that's the real? All right, watch this, y'all. Listen to what she says.
Called Hollywood is interested in green. So if you don't come see it, then you're sending a message that black women cannot lead the box office globally, that you are supporting that narrative. And if you want to normalize it, come see it the same way you would, the same way you would Black Panther, Spider-Man. Iron Man, Spider-Man, or any other movie that doesn't have any of us in it, or one or two of us in it.
Okay, so first things first, black people make up about 13% of the population in the United States. Just so we're clear. So whenever they're more than 13% of the population in a movie or something, it's always like, I wonder if this is a geographical abnormal thing where I'm seeing more than 13% of the people are that. You get what I mean? That's just kind of the way things are. Same reason why I'm not, wow, if I saw 9 Indian people inside of a regular American movie, I would go, oh, that's interesting. That doesn't exist here. That's it, right? But let's talk about what she just said.
Right.
Did you have a thing?
what I was going to say is that the movie, the premise of it too, is about, they were so powerful and they were so feared and this is so tough. And as you're about to find out, the real story is actually kind of tragic. And the premise of the movie is that white man bad, right? The white man is the one that's coming to get them and everything. And that's why they're fighting.
Yeah,
It's
so pull up
reasoning
that
because-
pull up the history thing, the Nerdist.
Right, the
Nerdist on
this
this.
is the
The real truth.
story.
Okay, so let me just read the first paragraph to you, okay? Administration and religious practices, their dominant religion was Voodoo, got a firm foundation as they did what any kingdom must do to establish its dominance and authority. What's that? Oh, conquer nearby areas. That sounds a lot like colonizing to me.
And that's fine if they were a powerful kingdom, but they were colonizing.
Yeah, so
It was
by
run
the
by a
18th
king.
by the 18th century, there's a king. By the 18th century, they were on a path for economic growth and expansion. Much of this expansion came from the abysmal practice of slave trading, which they did with European traders. And I love this last sentence where they try to whitewash this or blackwash this with woke ideology, if you would like to say that. It was a matter of either enslave others or become enslaved yourself. And the Dahomey chose the former. So they probably hated it and disliked slavery and just were like, fine, we'll catch them for it, but we're not going to participate. Now, what's the next paragraph say? Oh, the kingdom would capture people and sell them in Atlantic trade in exchange for goods like rifles, tobacco, and alcohol. And the kingdom kept some captives to enslave within its territory, forcing them to work on plantations and cultivate food for its army and royalty. If no worries. Hang on. Let me finish this last part.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, guys. It wasn't that bad. Okay? It was just slavery, just like we had here in the United States, everybody, except, well, because of the Voodoo religion, they would often feature a mass execution of the enslaved people for human sacrifice.
They enslaved people themselves.
Oh my God.
And that's actually how they became so powerful, is because they realized that selling their own people made them a lot of money. That's how they became so powerful, because then they were able to buy rifles and weapons and things like that. But it was based on
them giving up slaves,
them selling them, because it was the best
Right.
currency, not the white man coming and snatching
Well,
them.
hang on. Let's figure out what the white man did come to do. Next paragraph.
Yes.
Go back up.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
So they became known for its intricate artwork, the Voodoo traditions, and its all-women military unit known as the Dahomey Amazons. More of them later, of course. Near the mid-1800s, the kingdom began to decline with pressure from Britain to stop slave trading. Remember when they're trying to take our way of life and our freedom. Oh, you mean when you were slave trading?
Right.
Okay, let's keep going here.
Do you
All
think
right.
they're going to depict that in the film, though?
Yeah,
Do you think that? Of course
No.
not. Of
Hey,
course not.
stop the slave trade. Stop it. They're like,
They're going to change history.
Yeah,
They're
of
going to try
course.
to change history with this.
Okay, so let's see how good they were at battle.
And their group, and this one at this is let me just for reference, the Second Franco-Dahomey War. And they were called the Fawn. That group.
Yeah, the Fawn was the name of the chicks.
Was the Dahomey.
Also known as the king's wives, just so we're clear.
Oh yeah.
Not the king. There was no woman king. She was the one of the wives of the king.
In this battle right here, the Fawn fared badly again, losing 86 Dahomey regulars and 417 Dahomey Amazons, while the French suffered 6 dead and 32 wounded. They lost 417. And remember, they had the same
and the thing is,
firearms.
the thing is this. Look, read it. Right? They showed in the movie that a lot of their fighting and everything was done with swords and all that. But read that next sentence. The French bayonet charge inflicted the lion's share of the Dahomey casualties. So it was hand-to-hand combat
Hand-to-hand.
with swords. Right?
Yep.
The thing that we would have been like, well, one had guns and one didn't. It's like, no.
No, and they did have some. That's how they got so wealthy, and they traded the slaves. They got rich and then bought weapons. That's why they were so powerful in their own area.
Right. So they had the
weapons.
stuff against the French, but
Yeah.
even then,
They're
this
saying
is not even use of the rifles. The lion's share was from the bayonet charges. So that means they
Yep.
went in with the bayonets on the tips of the rifles and went to fight. Okay. So
Yep.
recap for everybody. Recap. Hollywood's version of this is white man came and tried to destroy it, and black females came together and fought and whipped their ass for freedom. What truthfully happened was a black tribe was enslaving black people for sale and for themselves, and getting guns and alcohol for it, and colonizing all the places around them.
Mm-hmm.
And then France and Britain were like, it's time to end the slave
They
war.
didn't want slavery
And so
anymore.
they came to end it and say, or the slave trade, and they said, we're not going to do slave trading anymore. They stopped, they put an embargo up, and we're like, you're not going to have slave trades anymore.
Yep.
They got mad, they had a war. All of the women fighters, they lost a shit ton of them because they were trash at fighting. Just so we're clear. Oh yeah. And the slaves that they held were killed usually annually by mass executions.
For religious purposes.
I hope this helps everybody. Hollywood did you a solid. If you don't go see it, you're a racist.
Oh,
Bloop.
yeah, that's right. If you don't go see it. And do you think it's going to be accurate? I would be impressed if it's accurate.
There's no way it's
Historically
accurate.
It's not going to be
There's
historically
no
accurate.
way.
We know that. We know that.
Look,
Especially the way she's talking about it. If you don't see it, then that means that you don't like empowered black women. That's not true. And then that tells me you're definitely not going to tell the real story, because it's quite like, ooh, it makes you kind of go, oh my gosh, I never knew that. This is real history.
right.
Never heard this before in my life. Never.
Right.
So
and
I
look,
guess-
I'm not saying that I wouldn't be impressed if a chick could fight like Joan of Arc or
Right.
whatever the heck. I'm sure there's some badass African queens out there that had to fight somebody and do something at one
and
point.
They said they
But
were.
don't bullshit me and
said they
act like this was like a pack of people that was elite amongst the world.
And could kill men, could defeat
Yeah.
men.
Like, don't
No.
play games with me, bro. I know how much dudes bench press. I know how good they are at chopping things. I know how aggressive they are and how there's a bloodlust in men. Men in times of war, men desire blood. It's almost like a game. You know, when that's why you think the veterans and all them have like the dirtiest language and stuff like that. It's because they just get used to the gruesomeness of
Grit.
it. Yeah, the
of it,
grit,
yeah.
you know, and it's like, that's not the same way.
And there are some, like you said, a handful, but you can't make whole armies out of, there's just not enough women like that for it to be feasible to have a successful military presence with just females like they're trying to portray, because it just isn't. And obviously the real history says that no, they weren't very good.
And they got their ass handed to
They
them.
got their butt kicked. Hours.
I hope this helps everybody. They sold you a bill of bullshit. No offense to black folks, but you guys don't let them put this shit up there and act like this is y'all's legacy, bro. This is horseshit.
That's what I don't like about it either. There are plenty of great stories, true stories of like black tribes or people or one person that's done amazing feats. Like there's
entire
real
tribes
stories
in Africa right now. There's this entire hunting technique that they use in Africa. There's this hunting technique, it's just stamina hunting, where 50 men will see a buffalo, will see a bison, will see a whatever the hell is their antelope, and they will grab their little spears and they will run their ass 12 miles an hour just running. The antelope runs 35, and then it stops.
I think
It turns around and looks for him and goes, they're still coming. And the guys just keep going 12 miles an hour. And the antelope runs again, half as long this time.
So
and the
they just
antelope
literally
turns
tired
around.
them out.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Good God. Like this, that's a story, bro. Like, did you hunt your food? Yeah, I chased the bitch 50 miles. You know what I mean? And I brought it home to my family. There's so much that you don't have to pretend that women are something that they're statistically not in most cases, in my opinion, and act like that there's some She-Hulk. There's a pattern with Marvel and all these movies where they excuse any kind of the crimes against humanity that the women or
true.
women of color do, and they just blame
women
shift.
too. Women in general.
They'll be like,
yeah.
it was because somebody stole stuff from them as a child. Somebody destroyed their village or whatever. That's why they're mass murderers now. And it's just like, I don't care why they're mass murderers.
No,
What happened with, what's the guy's name who killed everybody?
Hitler?
No.
Oh.
Well, yeah, sure. We can use Hitler. I don't care what his childhood was. I don't care what
Right.
Hitler's childhood was. The dude was insane and killed people.
Right.
That's it. You just die. That's the way it works. I don't care who you are. There's, Lady Justice is blind for a reason. She didn't look to see if you were a chick first and then go, all right, well, it's
Right.
probably justified. Nope. You kill people, you get killed.
And the thing is, too, is that it's our history. It's history and it's true. It doesn't always have to be for whichever side glorious, because it's just not. Like, different groups of people have committed atrocities to other people. That's just the facts. That's okay. But to sit
It's
there
the way
and
of the
change
world.
it-
Every country was built from borders that were dipped in blood. It's the way. How did you get 75,000 more square miles of country? You didn't just happen to land there, did you?
Right.
Nope. You kicked somebody out. You fought somebody. There's blood somewhere that was spilled for what? That's the way it works, dude. Dave
Well, that's the
Matthews
way
has a
it
whole
used to.
song.
And that's the way it used to. But we don't do things like that. We're not mean to people like that anymore.
Right. We're more civilized now,
Right.
or
So-
we're not, and they're lying to you. We're not actually more civilized. We are, the people giving this podcast, we're more civilized, and a traditional American culture is more civilized, but they've lied to you and made you think that the whole world is that way. What's really happened
yeah.
is corporations and elitists are still doing that behind the scenes in ways that you can't tell. You don't think they know that glyphosate or whatever, or whatever the hell was in Roundup, that they just had to pay millions upon millions of dollars for giving people cancer? You don't think they knew? They're just smart now, so they're not going to come at you with a gun. They're going to go, we're just going to put shit in your food, and then you're going to die early. And then we're going to own the insurance companies that didn't have to pay out because of some weird thing that there's a lawsuit or whatever the hell. It's all, bro,
And then
they're still doing it.
And then they get us into, they do like this in Hollywood, get us into race wars.
Yeah, so we
and
hate
then
each
we're
other
not seeing
instead
what
of
they're doing.
right.
Yeah, we're
And
not
we hate
seeing what
each
they're
other
doing.
instead of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we all know it too. Like, look, let me tell you, when I was growing up, nobody cared if you were black or white. I would
No.
go play basketball and they wouldn't pick me because I was white. They'd call me cracker and everything, and I would just laugh, or whatever. And they were right. I was not as good as them. They were way better than me, right? At first. But then I got them 3-pointers down, baby. And I would stay outside because it was just safer there. I don't want to get, there's nothing worse than when you go to like lay the ball up. And then I had this one dude, Pareo. Hey, Pareo. That was his name. He'd be like, hey, man, it's Pareo. He would swat the shit out of me every time I tried to do a layup. So I quit trying to do layups because I would just get swatted. So I was like, all right, I'm going to shoot threes. And I got good at it. Pareo. I hope you're watching this one day. Pareo. I remember you because you taught me how to do a layup fake this way and then go this way because you used to swat it all the time, bro. Anyway. All right. Speaking of the next subject. Speaking of Perel, I don't know. We'll just act like that's I'll think into the next subject. It's not, but it is.
The firefighter.
New York City. New York City's finest, man. I want you guys to hear this firefighter going off. But before we do, check out this hilarious picture. This was my favorite whatever today. 80s kids, I can't believe I had that haircut. 2000s kids, I can't believe I was a goth. 220s kids, I can't believe I cut my off. So sad.
It's sad. That's what it is.
It's so
like-
brutally honest and sad and true.
And look how it was in the grave too, because this isn't fixing the mental health problems that a lot of these people have. That's the thing wrong, not becoming transgender.
In our opinion.
In our opinion, it is because of that. In our opinion, totally in our opinion.
Yeah, in our
I don't even
opinion.
know what I was saying. Just in my opinion.
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our opinion, which we are in uniform about. We're in unison on our opinion.
Yeah.
but honestly though, look, maybe I shouldn't laugh at it, okay? But
No,
like,
it's
there's only
sad.
one thing to
It's
do is to
sad.
laugh
It's
at the. It's so bad that I have to laugh, dude.
Mhm.
I have to laugh at this point, Tina.
I
must laugh.
know. But that's the thing. These are
God.
kids that we're talking about. Think about your kids and how if you knew something was going to harm them. Like, I don't know. How are these parents? Wait a minute. Whoa. How are these parents going to feel in 20 years when they finally come to their senses with some of these situations, not all of them.
Yeah. Well,
Just
remember
so we're
when
clear.
you come to your senses, when you go, oh, I guess it was weird that my dad didn't talk to me past 8
Right,
p.m.
or
ever.
your parents
The weird
apologize,
little
or like,
slights that happen
yeah.
in your life. And you're like, actually, that played a pretty big role in why I'm so submissive today or whatever. You find out all this shit had some pretty massive role in your life. Imagine them stopping your damn puberty.
Well, what is that
and
going to be
chopping
like?
off your ding dong.
Well, how
you
are
think
the
30
parents?
years? Yeah.
The parents are going to feel guilty.
They're going to feel more than guilty. They're going to, dude, I'm telling you.
They're going to start like,
When these kids realize what they've done and the fact that the state and their parents like okayed it, I believe there's going to be mass suicides because of,
yes.
I mean, maybe not mass. I don't know how many, but
In our
I
opinion,
believe like
in our opinion,
in our opinion, there's
I think you
already
have
a
to bleep out-
45% chance of a trans person attempting to take their life. Now they can't specify clearly why that is. I'll tell you this though, that number's not going to go down with regret. And there's plenty of people talking about their regret now, but you can't share on the internet without getting banned. Just
I
like you
know.
can't share the jab, bad reactions to the jab on the internet without getting banned.
Yeah.
Those poor people that are like, I can't move my legs. My face is one giant blister and has been for freaking 3 months now. I can't do anything with it. And she's just getting nonstop blocked, banned, censored.
shadow banned,
And it's
deleted.
like, how evil to snuff out the voice of the weak, to snuff out the voice of the voiceless, bro. Like, that's what these people do. Speaking of the voice of the voiceless, I want you guys to see this New York City firefighter.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Eric Adams is going to be on the wrong side of history. The people who look by are the same people who thought slavery was okay. The same people who thought segregation in Shea Stadium was okay.
Thank you very
okay?
much,
You
sir.
segregated us. I was allowed to work in this city, but I wasn't allowed to eat in a restaurant in this city.
Thank you very
I
much.
was allowed to work through the pandemic, but I wasn't allowed to eat in a restaurant.
Okay.
I could wear the uniform, go to a burning building, but not eat here.
Thank you
What's
very much,
wrong
sir.
with you people? Trust the science.
Thank
you
you,
guys
sir.
are fucked up.
Thank you.
Damn.
Quiet. Quiet, please.
Quiet. Shut him up. Shut him up. It's bonkers to me, bro. That what's interesting is he's saying that, and immediately they started responding verbally because he said the people that are doing this are going to be compared to what it was like with slavery and segregation. You're not allowed to say anything about that. Where
You
the
can't
hell?
say that to us.
Get him out of here. Cut his mic off.
We're
You know what I'm
about
saying?
safety. We're trying to help people.
Yeah, well, God forbid you compare anything that you're going through with anything bad throughout history. And it's like, he's right.
He's
He
right.
could go into a burning building, but he wasn't allowed to eat
The way
in the
he
city.
put it, I was like, that's such a great point. At this point, too, it's like, come on, it's been 3 years now. At this point, like,
Well,
in my opinion.
this is the same shit we're talking about, though, with these gender transitions and stuff like this, that the people are going to regret stuff later on at a whole nother level. The same thing's going to happen about COVID. They're going to go, wait, you didn't have a burial for your grandfather? Yeah, no, actually, they told us only 3
Through
could come.
FaceTime.
We just did it through FaceTime.
Yeah.
Oh, so he lived 84
you
years.
could hold your dying parent's hand while they were passing away.
Yeah,
which
but
is what
your
happened in
sibling couldn't be there as well. It just
Yeah.
could only be one sibling.
Yep.
Yeah, just because
Yep.
death's so bad, we're
We'll
so
call
afraid
you
of
when
it.
You can't stay more than 2 hours. So it seems like she didn't kick you yet. We'll call you, which this actually happened in my family. We'll call you, though, when we think she gets close to kicking it. You can only stay 2 hours. Yes. Effing yes. Baptist in Kendall. Baptist Hospital in Kendall, which is south of Miami. Yes, that is what they did as one of my family members was dying. In-laws side, so not direct family, but
Dude, that is so wrong.
Yep, we'll FaceTime
Imagine
you.
living 84 years, pouring your sweat and your blood into your lineage, into your family, and then when you're waving goodbye on the boat, they're not even allowed to be there for it, dude. Evil.
you saw those pictures of like people in their nursing home, parents through like windows. It
Yeah.
was so sick. People hugging, like, because
Through
you know
the
the
stupid
media
tarp.
through the putting plastic bags to hug their grandchildren. Which I mean, I get that. The
I get it.
media
You were all
scared it,
trying to
right.
be safe.
and the
but-
media had you.
But
thinking
the problem
this was
is that it was all in my opinion.
Oh, in my opinion.
It was now we know, like, you guys realize COVID today is no less dangerous than COVID was forever ago, in my opinion, right? Like, what happened? All you people that were wearing masks because you were happened to be murdering people. What if you happen to come in contact with the grandma who doesn't have the antibodies, you selfish assholes? You just going to kill her with your damn breath? That's what you told us we were
That's
doing.
what you said, yeah.
That's what you said we were doing. What
But
happened? What happened? Now you're okay with it? Explain yourself. You can't explain yourself because you couldn't explain how the hell the science worked before. You didn't know about aerosol spread. You didn't know about the nanoparticle size. You didn't know about what nanoparticle size masks even stop.
They don't even
You
know,
didn't know about how long you're supposed to use a mask for before it's now considered worse than not having a mask because you touched it. And now everything that was on your stupid fingers is now being exhaled every time you exhale. I saw you pick the same mask up after you touched the ground. I saw you when we all pushed the same stupid button at Walmart to check out, and we couldn't spray the stupid button, the thing that our credit card goes into.
Yeah,
we
so
all
dumb.
touched it with our fingertips. You think Roger in the back in the cleaning hours when Walmart decided to stop going?
Sneezed on a can. You think he wiped it down before he put it back on the shelf?
Yeah, when they were stocking, you think homeboy did all that? You think he carried Lysol with him?
Nope.
Did he do the appropriate recommendations on the back of the Lysol can that specifically explain how long you're supposed to let the thing sit with a bubble? You're supposed to sit there with when you read the Lysol can,
No,
it literally
I've never
says you're supposed, if you were trying to freaking get this to be clean, you're
Okay.
supposed to stand 8 inches from it and hold the spray down for like 30 seconds. It's supposed to develop an entire bubble on it. Nobody does this. Nobody did it. You're an
I didn't know
idiot.
that.
You're an idiot for thinking that the little measures that everybody were doing were somehow massive when you could look at Florida with them doing none of the measures and go, the numbers aren't that much different.
They were the lowest at one point, right? They were
But my
pretty low.
father's not allowed to have a burial here.
Yeah.
What do you think? Right? And so everybody thinks the government wouldn't do something wrong like that to the people. The government was trying to look out for our interests. Really? While the greatest transfer in human history of wealth happened. Really? That's what happened. You think that it was all for your benefit, that you couldn't go for work and you were dependent on the government, and the big box stores went up by 27%, and that 60% of the closures of stores Yelp said were permanent.
Yep.
You think it was all for your benefit? Are you a fool? Anyway,
Yeah. No,
speaking
it's
of
true.
dumb shit the government's done.
That's what's happening though. That's what's happening. Just to top this off.
So I keep
New
talking
York
over
is-
you because I'm just fired up on this stuff
No,
tonight.
it's true. New York, that's what's happening. Is New York is still holding on. Like little, really liberal areas are holding on as tight as possible. You know they're remasking kids in California, right? Oh yeah, they're trying to bring it. So it's little liberal strongholds just holding on to that COVID, that
Fear.
not the fear,
Fear,
just- no,
control.
It was a meal ticket for them. No, they don't want to let go of that meal ticket. So they're like,
Oh, yeah,
we-
for the
we gotta-
federal funds, you
yeah,
mean?
no, for everything, control, money, everything. So
Yeah,
they
well,
wanna
it's like
make
it's like a
sure.
nuke button where you can say, during an emergency, I don't have to follow any of the rules I normally
Right.
do. If there's a
Exactly.
button on my desk called the emergency button, and then I can get through what I want to get through, what do you think I'm going to push if I'm a little bit corrupt? Right?
Right.
Click. There we go. That's way better.
That was
right?
easy.
Yeah, this is
I
way
wanna do
easier.
this again.
Yeah, it sounds like they're, it's like Lil Wayne has this song where he's like, we're going to come over there and act like we found some oil, you know?
Okay.
Like
no,
that's like a joke on the United States of America for acting like we found some oil, because even Lil Wayne knew that was the reason that everything
yeah,
happened,
yeah.
right? With 9/11 and all that was basically because we wanted to go have a blank check. This is my opinion. We wanted to go have a blank check to go tromp around the Middle East for 20 years at the taxpayer's dime and rearrange all the structures of all the governments that we felt like rearranging. Look, the conspiracy
this is
theorists,
where, yeah, it goes right down.
the conspiracy theorists and the conservatives have come together in the last 5 years like never before.
Mhm.
And here's why you should care about that if you're on the other side. The reason you should care about this is because we all believe the same thing on this side. Most of us believe the same thing about 9/11. But remember, that was a Republican president. That was George Bush,
Mhm.
right? So you've got George Bush, his dad, Obama, the Bidens, the Romneys, the McCains. All these families are best friends. All of them. And those are the people that were supposed to be competing with each other in the presidential races over the last 25 years,
Mhm.
right? So it sure seems like they were all buddies in the dugout and then came out and acted like they were playing baseball against each other. But really, there was a different man. There were the manager and the owner of both teams was deciding how everything
it's a
played
facade
out.
for us, basically.
Yes. And then Trump shows up and all of them seem to hate him.
Yep.
All those people that have completely different views on the way politics should be done seem to hate Trump. Now, I'm not saying Trump is the end all be all, but what I am saying is
what are they afraid of?
conservative, American loving Americans is the thing that they all hate.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get that straight.
And you said the thing about conspiracy theorists and now Republicans. Remember, Republicans used to be the ones that love government control and love the government to come in and take care of things. Remember, that's how we conservatives were painted, like government loving people.
Yeah, like
Is
we
that
wanted
what's
big,
happening?
like we
And the
wanted big
conspiracy-
government.
Yeah, the conspiracy theorists said, no, you want big government. Now we're on the same team. We're like, yeah, conspiracy theorists, you're right. We don't want big government. So
Yeah.
true Republicans, true American loving Republicans
Conservatives.
don't want big government. Like rhinos want big government.
Well, so let's break down 9/11 a little bit. For anybody that hasn't done any research on it, I just want to give.
Well, what's the story? What's the story we've been told in a nutshell?
Yeah, so the story we've
nutshell.
been told, oh lordy, it's that Saudi Arabian
Just real quick,
people
Bin Laden
hijacked
with the Al-Qaeda.
airplanes with box cutters and then rammed them into the plane, into the Twin Towers and into the Pentagon. Period.
And
There you go. So and
No other
and
buildings
that
were
those
harmed?
buildings that were specifically designed to withstand a hit from an airplane of that size, they were specifically, in my opinion, they were specifically designed for that. That's why they were built the way that they were. When you look up how the World Trade Centers were built, the Twin Towers specifically, they were designed to be hit by airplanes and not fall.
Really?
Yes.
See, I'm learning all this stuff too. I definitely think that there was definitely a government involvement or lack thereof to help this happen for sure on our side.
Well, so
but I
I'm not a
didn't know,
genius.
I still am learning new things, and he was showing me footage that I had never seen of people on the ground.
There's plenty of firefighters that say that there was plenty of bombs that were going
crazy
off,
stuff. I
multiple
was like,
explosions
what?
before the things fell. Okay, but let's just zoom in on one or two things, okay, so that everybody can understand why I think what I think about what happened on 9/11. Okay, this is my opinion, but it's a pretty educated one, I would believe, because I like me. But so the first thing is there has not been many buildings in history, skyscrapers or metal buildings in history, that have collapsed because of a fire. There's less than 3.
They were saying that the jet fuel was it is the reason. I remember this now because it was a meme.
That's fine. All I'm saying is,
No, that's
in
what they were
history,
saying.
there has been, I believe, 3 or less buildings that have ever fully collapsed because of a fire of any kind.
Mhm.
All 3 of them were on 9/11. The other thing is if you were to, like we were talking about the Chinese buildings earlier that we watched, they did demo on
Yeah.
those, and even some of those, boom, and they fell over, right?
Topple over. They go which way? It's
they'd fall
haphazard.
down and then it would kind of go to the side.
Yeah.
Why is that? Well, that's because there's this thing called resistance that happens. So even if the plane hit a building that is as tall as my arm, if it hit the building at this spot, which is about where it was on the Twin Towers, it hits right here, right?
That
Then
should
it would
topple over.
compromise this chunk up here, and then maybe it falls onto itself and stuff like that. But
Some of it might
at
remain.
some point, all of this is not a broken building.
That's what I was thinking.
All of this is still perfectly fine Legos with a little bit of weirdness going on, right? So that for it to fall on itself is the path of greatest resistance, unless there is something that's wiping out underneath of it while it's falling. Okay? So that's one thing. Now, maybe the plane fuel, maybe the whatever.
That was what they had said.
We
but
can say
I
that's
still
totally
think
fine for the 2 Twin Towers.
for the size of those buildings. That's what I don't agree with, because even when you look at the video, the planes almost seem small in comparison to these buildings, that you would have enough jet fuel in that plane. Let me put it that way. You wouldn't
Well,
have
even
enough
Trump,
jet
when he saw
fuel.
it happen, said that he believed there was had to have been bombs in the planes or something, because there's no way that it should have exploded like that.
Really?
You know, even Trump said that the day it happened or the day after it happened.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was on the street. I
But
remember that. Yeah.
okay, second thing, Building 7, completely separate from the Twin Towers, completely separate from them.
Where is it in relation to? Here are the twin.
I don't know, a block that way or something to the right.
Okay.
Bottom. If you're looking at the Twin Towers, it was like this way and then this way, a little like diagonal-ish.
Okay. All right.
And-
Just so I'm getting a.
Yeah, and there was some small fires and stuff that happened around it because of all the debris and the rubble and the brr, 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 brr. Okay, got it. It too, somehow, fully collapsed into itself the exact way that the other ones did. This was right after Don Rumsfeld announced, one day after Don Rumsfeld announced that we had just lost $2.3 trillion that were unaccounted for in the budget. Trillion, guys.
With a T.
2.3
That's a lot.
trillion.
Millions already. Way a lot.
Then all of a sudden, George Bush, who isn't rushed to safety during the greatest terror attack of the last 50 odd years, is not rushed to safety. He's reading a book to children. They come whisper in his ears that it happened. He doesn't move. He's not alarmed. He's not concerned. They don't rush him to a bunker somewhere to make sure that he's not compromised and going to get hit next. Nope. He just keeps going. Funny enough, that same day on 9/11, they were running war games with the military, prepping them for some stuff that could happen. And the game that they were playing that day in the war games was, what if somebody hijacks planes and runs them into buildings?
Yes.
What are we going to do? So now everybody in the military or everybody in the NORAD or whatever is going, is this a real thing or is this a whatever thing? They can't figure out the difference. So they're having issues. When you look up the...
Is there a name of it? Like a...
NORAD?
I know they name trainings. They'll give trainings a name sometimes.
Yeah, so the best documentary I've watched on this is Loose Change.
Loose Change? Okay.
Loose Change,
He was telling me
9/11.
about this earlier.
Was the best documentary I watched forever ago, but it asked, and all they're saying is ask questions and demand answers. That's it. That's their whole message. And they're going, what is this? Why is there thermite in the debris? Why can we pull?
Wait, what's thermite?
It was what they believed caused the explosions.
Oh.
They're like, why is there thermite? This is what you do to demolish a building. Why is there thermite in the rubble? Anyway, why was there liquid lava melting when the people were going into the, because for days afterwards, they were going into these heaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were having to wear masks and everything, but they would get severe burns because they would touch molten metal, right? And the only way that you can get those temperatures is not jet fuel, and it couldn't have occurred from a lot of the other mechanisms that they would say.
Yeah, that's the jet fuel thing is the one that I heard that I thought was most plausible, if I'm honest. Like,
yeah,
but then you look at the size of the plane, I'm like, still, that's not enough fuel to cause that much damage.
Right, not that much damage.
No.
If anything, the building should have been like,
maybe even
dang,
half.
like it hits it and it goes boom, and it goes, oh, this section's shitty now. Everybody get out. Oh, you can't get out. Oh, well, that part fell over.
Right. Or if there was like a little base, like a jagged base, that'd be...
Yeah, if the plane hit the bottom of the building and then it was like,
then I
oh,
could say,
shit,
yeah.
the whole thing fell over,
But there's not even a base left. Nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Well, if the building hit the bottom of it, it might have been like, oh, okay, I see what's going to happen. But here's the deal.
The
Pentagon.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about this, okay? The person who supposedly, allegedly flew the plane that hit the Pentagon, the person who allegedly did that, within the last 6 months of doing that, had failed to acquire their Cessna plane license because they were so terrible at even flying a Cessna, which is one of them prop planes with a person next to you, right?
Really?
They failed to do that within 6 months. I think it was actually 3 weeks, but I don't want to say because I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the information on this for so long.
Okay,
but
I
they
didn't
had
know
failed
any of
to even
this
get their Cessna
about the
license.
pilot?
They failed it. And this person, the person who hit the Pentagon with their plane, right,
Okay.
who failed to get their Cessna license, somehow did what experienced 15, 20-year pilots say was an impossible maneuver, which was to have done, they were going this way.
Okay.
They pulled a full 360,
Okay.
came back in at perfect level somehow with that big ass airplane,
Okay.
and then
that's what
didn't
we're talking
even
about a
touch
big
the
airplane.
grass at the Pentagon. They didn't even hit the grass. They hit the building within 5
Okay,
feet
yeah.
of the ground. and didn't even hit the grass. This person somehow did that. He couldn't get a Cessna license.
Well, wasn't
earlier.
it a tiny little hole in the Pentagon?
Yes, it didn't have
Like,
any.
it was
It didn't even have a mark from where the tail thingy that's in the back of the plane would have hit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons that people, and then
I
they
think
magically find the dude's license
Or
in the
his
rubble
passport
or his
something.
passport or whatever. The flip, like, bro.
And wasn't there pieces of plane all over the place?
Yeah, there was no turbines at the
Wow.
Pentagon, so the reason that turbines are usually left behind during rubble is because they're made of titanium or something. So it's a metal that doesn't usually disintegrate as quick as the other shit does. Because if you think about it, an airplane is kind of essentially like aluminum can that they throw into the sky. It's supposed to be super light, but NORAD somehow was called off. So there's also certain protocols that's
NORAD
supposed
again?
to be
Remind
followed.
me of
It
that.
was the air defense.
Okay, all right, go.
So the air defense was called north like 7 minutes before all this happened, so they couldn't get back in time to do anything. The planes that would have traditionally intercepted a plane. But here's the other thing. When you talk to pilots, and this is all from Loose Change, you can go watch his documentary. There's a lot more from other places. But when you talk to pilots, if they get off course, there is a protocol of correction that occurs. If they don't respond in a certain amount of time, there's an ultimate type of correction that occurs, right? All of the planes were off for way longer than they should have been with no one trying to correct it. So anyway, when you add it all up, okay, and then you look at Dick Cheney and how much money the Cheneys made and the construction jobs or contracting jobs or whatever over there to rebuild everything that our taxpayer dollars paid for missiles to destroy. It just makes sense, guys, that maybe something else was sneaky, especially since there was no WMDs, which Donald Trump shit on Jeb Bush about at the debates. He was like, "Where were the WMDs, Jeb?
Where were they, Jeb?
Where were they, Jeb?
Yeah, there
Where
you go.
were they?" And that's just great because that's exactly right.
Speaking of the Cheneys, I want to get your opinion. Liz Cheney seems very, very confident that she will be doing a presidential run. What do you
Let
think?
her run. Let her ass run.
Can you believe
She's
with
going to
all
try to
that-
split off traditional Republicans? She's going to
Yes.
fail drastically, and then they're all going to side with
She
Trump.
seemed very confident. Who knows what they're planning? Behind.
I'm surprised they
allegedly-
haven't. I'm surprised
allegedly.
they haven't planned an assassination yet. To be honest, they're trying to. They're
'Cause
trying to
they
put
know
him in
that'll-
jail.
They know that'll make them look too bad. They can't go too far. Like, look at that Democratic
Right.
politician that's now being charged with the murder of a journalist. That is like, whoa, that even makes regular Democrats go, hey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This
and so-
reminds me of Seth Rich.
Yeah, they don't want to lose any more constituents.
They don't
So-
want to lose.
Yeah,
Well,
crazy. I guess I have to watch the movie.
loose change.
Loose Change. Where can we find it? I hear that it's really like shadow banned everywhere. I guess we could find
It
it.
is shadow banned a lot of places. That didn't used to be, but it's funny that they don't let anybody hear about it now.
I wonder if you could watch it like in segments on someone's Instagram. I bet
I
someone
guarantee you can watch it somewhere.
Hey,
Just
you know
go
what?
look for it. 9/11 loose change. Dylan Avery is the guy who you should look for in the his name. It should be with it somewhere. So that's the real one.
has it. Dylan Avery.
Dylan
Okay.
Avery.
All right.
I'm pretty sure.
So
I'm right.
I'm gonna watch that because this is, like I said, I start from what I definitely thought there was something involved that our government did or didn't do, like purposely didn't intervene. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that kind of thing. I definitely think that was involved, but to the extent of what I'm starting to kind of find out, I'm like, oh, like it really makes.
Well,
you
imagine
question.
how much. Imagine planning to have planes hit buildings. People
Well,
jump
I
out of the
can't.
buildings, and then imagine literally going, we're literally gonna demolish the buildings in front of all of America. What
That's-
a false flag move!
But
If it was a false flag,
it seems so the way, see how you just said it? It seems so outrageous, Ross. Like I think me like years ago would be like, how would you even fathom something like that? But the way they responded with COVID, and now we see how politicians really feel about us. I can fathom it now, but I think years ago,
I mean, but
would've
at the
looked
same
you like
time,
you were
though, Tina,
crazy.
think about this: 13 Saudis with box cutters did this.
No, I know, and that's what I'm trying to say.
But
that-
here's what I'm saying. Think about it in another way. What a grandiose. They knew America, right? Everybody got on the let's go to war. And they knew everybody would jump on board and go, they went after our heart. They went after New York City firefighters and police officers. You went after the heart of the United States. Of course, we're going to go to Iraq and Afghanistan and trench your ass. You know, there was no weapons there the whole time. But by the way, we found a ton of oil. And we destroyed 5 governments while we were there, and we put them back the way we wanted them to be. And we made millions of dollars for the politicians that elected for all this shit to happen.
Again, you got to think about it from a normie's perspective. A normie. Think of just a normal housewife or your normal average dad working at his little IT job and everything, and they listen to the news. You would never think of that of the American government. Excuse me. You would never think that of the American government to do. That's outrageous for a normal person. You got to think about it from how a normal person who's been manipulated by the media. Now we have to put that into perspective. Remember, they started removing clips from the news that were saying something weird was here and stuff like that.
Right.
Remember?
All the eyewitnesses that were like, no, it was definitely bombs. I saw it.
A normie's been manipulated the whole time. So you don't know what you don't know. And then you think your government's doing good for you. So why would we even fathom something like that? You know what I mean? So
right. Well, that's so just to leave everybody on a why you should care note. It's really simple. There was an operation called Operation Northwoods, where the government under JFK, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, sincerely put forward as an option for us to be able to invade Cuba, to allow American soldiers to dress up as Cuban soldiers and to bomb and harm American civilians and American military in order to cause us to have a reaction as a country and to have the people's support to go to war in Cuba. This is called Operation Northwoods. You can look it up. It's declassified now. The Joint Chiefs of Staff put this forward as a legitimate option for JFK to consider. JFK turned it down. Remember, he was assassinated as well. But here's the deal. If you think
oh my gosh,
that they are the first people to have suggested to a president that we should do something that lies to get the people on board with something, you are simply a fool.
I've never heard of that.
Operation Northwoods. Everybody can look it up.
Ever heard of that? See, I just went up another step. I never knew that.
Wait till you read about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which is what got us into Vietnam.
Gulf of Tonkin? Okay.
The Gulf of Tonkin, the Gulf of Tonkin incident is what got us into Vietnam. And it was supposed to be that one of our ships was attacked. The helicopter pilot or jet pilot, whatever, that went over the area when that was happening, reported that nothing even occurred.
Wow.
Now, that's my opinion. I'm not remembering perfectly. But when you look at the Gulf of Tonkin, you can look it up. And it's way more elaborate than what I'm saying. But basically, nothing happened. And we got into Vietnam because of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm
Fast
still
forward,
stuck on the
Archduke,
Northwoods.
the Archduke of Ferdinand, the Archduke of whatever, World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt knew about it beforehand. He knew 24 hours beforehand. He talked about it.
Really?
All of it, bro. All of it. Talk about false flags. So just so everybody knows what a false flag was.
Yeah, I was going to say define
A false flag is when you on your ship, your pirate ship or your British vessel, and you saw a French vessel over there and you wanted to confuse them and make them report things that were not true, you would fly a Caribbean flag and you would attack a British ship.
Oh.
And then France would report to their country that the Caribbean soldiers or the Caribbeans, whatever, and the pirates are fighting against the British. And really all of it was lies. It was false flags. That's how they make it appear a certain way. And from afar, all you can do is go, oh my God, I can't believe that Afghanistanis and Osama bin Laden just attacked the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, there you go, everybody. Everything I just said in the last 5 minutes is just give me a hint of nuance. This is all coming from memory, but I'm fairly accurate on most of the stuff. You'll see what I mean if you go dig, okay? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Today's a long one. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Check out Ross Bennett Consulting if you need help with your websites, your logos, your brand design, your sales, anything like that. If you want to work together to do ads and stuff like that, you can reach out. There's so many other things. Goodness
things.
gracious. We've got 1 million businesses that are going, everybody. God bless you all. Have a good one. You're not alone. The wokers are stupid, and regular Americans are going to kick ass. Bye, everybody.